Okay, so if you are like me and you have a Mikrotik router and your ISP provides you IPv6 dual stack and you have multiple internal VLANs in your network and you want each of those VLANs to have their own separate valid IPv6 network or subnet, which is more of a IPv4 terminology. But if you wish to have that, then this hopefully very short video will explain how to do that. So in this specific example we have right here, we're actually using pools to do this. So number one, the first step to do is to go into our DHCP client and ensure that our pool prefix length is 64 bits. Okay, if your ISP allocates you 56, then you can use 64, anything larger than 64. If your ISP issues 64, then you're kind of stuck. That'd be very, very weird. They need to be issuing you a IPv6 prefix effectively bigger than say /64. So it needs to be /63 or bigger, right? That's what needs to happen for this to work for you to subnet it down. And the reason for that is the network portion of an IPv6 address is always 64 bits and the host portion is always 64 bits. You can't have a host address on an IPv6 network more than 64 bits. So if they issue a /64, you're a little stuck. I don't know why they would do that, but if that happens, this video isn't for you. You have other issues you have to work out in advance. So getting back to the basics again, my ISP issues me a /56. When I get that IP range, what I do is I create an address pool called ABB, which stands for Aussie Broadband. You could call it whatever you want. The pool prefix length here, in my case, is 64 bits. The next thing to do is to make sure you enable neighbor discovery for every VLAN. I have 3 VLANs. One is the LAN. It's called Bridge. Don't worry, that's a Mikrotik thing. I have another VLAN called IoT and another VLAN called Guest. So basically for each of these, I have these settings so that they're the same for each. And that means that once that interface or that network has a valid address, it will start advertising using IPv6 broadcast packets, advertising to everything in that network that a router exists. So the last thing to do is to go and add the addresses. Now, what we would do is you would add in, these are the defaults, just leave them as they are, add in the pool, right, and then add in the network name. I've created a fake one here called LAN, and then you click OK. You can do EUI64. If you don't know what that is, go on EUI64 on Wikipedia. You'll work it out quickly. Either way, once you've done that, click OK. And then what will happen is that Mikrotik will effectively pick the next valid network identity out of the /64 range for you to use, right? So it knows you have a /56 that's been issued to you. It knows that you want each network ID to be 64 bits. And what it'll do is it'll actually pick the next valid network range when you click one. So you can see my bridge is 7200, my guest network 7201, and hello, why is my IoT network 7203? What that means is that when you edit any of these at any time and click OK, it randomly goes back to the pool and selects a new network ID. And I'll show you how that works. So let's pick the guest network. See, its network ID is 7201. Let's just click OK. Oh, it's gone gray, and now suddenly it's 7204. Let's click it again. OK. Oh, now it's 7205. Oh, let's click it again. Now it's 7206. Now this doesn't really matter, really, because when you're using firewall rules in Mikrotik, you're generally setting the firewall rule based on the interface name as opposed to a specific network ID. So it's not a massive issue, but if you want your network IDs to track the VLAN ID, let's say your VLAN ID is 10, and therefore you want the network ID in my case here to be 7210, for example, then you can't use the pool and you need to do it manually. So let's say, in fact, my guest VLAN's 11. So let's actually go and click this address. Let's copy the whole thing. Let's remove the pool value, okay? Change the 7206 to 7211, and let's apply. It's waiting. Okay. Now, what you'll see here is it broke. See that? It broke the entry. I'm going to paste it again. This is some weird bug or feature. I don't know why it does that. And so now you can see that my guest network has the 7211 prefix, effectively network ID, and it's not using the pool. I prefer not to use the pool, again, because if you use the pool, it'll just randomly change things on you. And if you've got anything relying on IP address, or you're just mentally in your head, you're saying, oh, 7200 is my LAN network, then it's going to confuse you. But anyway, that is it. We are done. Let's finish off by editing each of my networks here and removing the pool. So in this particular case, this one's going to be, see, it's gone to give me the error there. I'm going to paste that 7200 again. Now it's manually 7200. Let's go to my IoT. I want that to be 10 because I happen to know that's the VLAN of that network. So I just want it to track it. It's going to give me a weird self, determined blank prefix. And now it's done. So now I have 7200, 7211, and 7210. I'm happy with that. But if you're happy to use pools, absolutely go and do that. For a device that's in the LAN here with me, what you might notice here is that I've got a 7200 address. Now see, it's got this wonky non-prefix thing here. It's because it briefly saw that no prefix address. I don't like that. The quickest way to solve this is to disable and re-enable IPv6 in the network stack, or wait, or reboot. Either of those will work. Anyway, it's a short video. There's a lot that's been unsaid about how IPv6 works, but if you at least want VLANs to work on your Mikrotik router, then this is how you do it. Good luck.